experiences matter a lot, like you just said a few moments ago. So, if a person is approaching whatever they're doing with that sort of psychological mindset, that is purely on motivational basis, and it's working for them, I don't think I have a right to meddle or say anything there because that's a different story, that's a different path, not connected to mine. And it's working, even though if it doesn't work for me or I do not like so much champion it. Like I said, it's not the main character, it's just a character. Yes, you're very right about that. Regardless of the fact whether it's gonna turn out to be a great day for you or not, because this is not the only day, right? Are we looking at a do or die situation? Or are we looking at something that's going to be there for us as we work on it? It's like saying that I'm not ready to do something, right? And that's about it. That's what defines you. But then, of course, when you start on something is when you realize, okay, this is how I can do it. This is how I can maybe, revert from doing such a thing. So I just want to give a very small example here. When I was young, and for a huge amount of years, because I was in that protected shell, right? I was told, and I heard it being told to other people when I was in the same room, that I don't know how to cross the road. Okay? Yes. I would hear it everywhere. And it's true because if I was out on the roads, let's say I was with my parents or someone was holding my hand, so the sentence or the phrase became, she does not know how to cross the road. Until came a time when I actually crossed the road. Right? But before that, in those particular durations of the years of build-up, it used to feel like, oh my God, it's going to be like a mess. It's like a war zone. I don't know. It's just a small distance, like a road. I live.
Whenever we want to achieve a goal, whenever we want to achieve anything, there's always this aspect of I have to feel motivated, I have to feel ready. But in a lot of cases, a lot of people don't end up achieving their goals. So I would like to hear from you, Sawaira. Firstly, what is motivation?
Based on what you're telling me, I'd like to say it's a problem. It's a problem because if people decide to, base their goals or try to find solutions just on the basis of motivation, the solution is not going to come about. And I'm not saying that motivation does not help. It does. But somehow, at least in my dictionary or in my, world of understanding, motivation is not everything. Or rather, motivation is not the ultimate that should keep someone going or should, make you do what you want to do. So, yes, it's important. It could be a tool in no matter what space you're using it because the entire world is dependent on this thing we call motivation, Mohammed, as it is. But to achieve your goals to a certain level, it will help, but it's not, the ultimate destination. So for me, I just see it as a very temporary thing because when it leaves the room, right, what happens? What are you going to fall back on? So I think what you fall back on is what you should even make your starting point for that matter. Because motivation is just going to come and leave you in between. But what stays with you, that's the permanent thing.
So what is motivation exactly? Is it an emotion? Is it a mindset? Just like you said, it lives, goes and come, it goes and come, it goes and come. So is it an emotion? Is it a mindset? Or is it something else?
Well, not really a mindset, but something that can be used to train a mindset. Maybe if I can call it like a momentary injection, because if I'm supposed to decode or describe motivation, like I said, it's not something that's going to last for you forever. So, as long as something is working, let's just call it a formula, okay? We have baby food formulas, we have formulas in algebras and all that. So, let me just call it a formula that works for the purpose that it's serving for a particular sort of time, okay? But then maybe it's just needed for a particular moment or for a short term goal, or maybe let's say for a certain kind of event that you're supposed to just meet up with. But it's not the ultimate thing, like I say. Maybe to answer your question again, I'll repeat my own words. It is a momentary injection.
And earlier on, you talked about it coming and going. I want us to touch upon that. So when people say that I don't feel motivated, what do they actually mean when they say I don't feel motivated?
Hmm, that's a very, very interesting question. Okay. So basically, maybe they're looking for something, you know, because motivation could be something that, empowers you maybe through a material, through maybe some sort of reference context, or in whatever capacity you want to look at it. But if someone says that I do not feel motivated, it's basically like they're asking for help. They don't know what to do because they have nothing at the moment to focus on, which they feel could be their fuel to do what they want to do. Or maybe they're just tired. It could be anything. When our emotions empower us or somehow overwhelm us, we need an escape. And at that point is now when we realize, okay, I don't have my support structure. So if someone was just purely relying on motivation and they say, I do not feel motivated, that's a call for help. That's why I said motivation can be a problem. It's not really the solution.
Okay, so okay, is it possible for someone to be able to sustain their motivation up until they get to their goal? That feeling of motivation or that concept of motivation, can you always, or do you have to always feel motivated throughout achieving your goals? Is it possible?
Yes, yes, I think it is. I mean, when I look at the way you framed your question, what is it that one can do to feel motivated throughout? They just need to be very clear about what they want, right? And if they're clear about that, if they're honest with themselves, no shortcut, no cheat code, and of course, know that it's still going to be challenging at the end of the day, right? I think that's more than enough reason for them to keep going forward. There's a very interesting, I don't know how to phrase it well or quote it well for you, but it's something that I just came across recently, and I come across it at different times of my life, that the reason for you to do what you're doing should be bigger than the challenge that you're facing. So if we say that whatever we are doing brings us to a standstill because of a challenge or a difficulty, that does not mean that we need to just stop looking at it or stop doing what it is that we are doing. So what needs to keep us going, right, is that inner voice, is the fact that we need to do what we have to do no matter what. If it's raining, it's okay. The rain will stop. Or if it's too sunny, it's going to get less sunny sometime around the day. But you just have to do what you have to do.
So you're saying, regardless of whether I feel that's motivation or not, I need to just keep going as long as I know where I'm headed to. Am I getting that correct?
Yes, yes, you're very right about that. Regardless of the fact whether it's going to turn out to be a great day for you or not, because this is not the only day, right? Are we looking at a do or die situation? Or are we looking at something that's going to be there for us as we work on it? It's like saying that I'm not ready to do something, right? And that's about it. That's what defines you. But then, of course, when you start on something is when you realize, okay, this is how I can do it. This is how I can maybe, revert from doing such a thing. So as long as you start and you keep at it, you just learn the way. And I think that's how the idea of doing something that we have to do also works.
I have worked with quite a number of people that at the beginning of the year would set a goal with them. That's okay. By the end of this year, this is what I want to achieve. And at some point, they just lose focus. They lose focus, they lose balance, they lose that what we call motivation. Now, when someone loses motivation towards going on a journey, does that mean that the journey is not what's going on? If I lose motivation on that journey, does that mean that the journey no longer has that value or the destination no longer has value?
That's a very strong one. I don't know if I have the right answer to this, but I love the question. It could be this way or it could be that way. I don't know. Maybe give me an example. What kind of situation are we talking about here?
Okay. I would like you to tell me what situation do you think it could be this way, it could be that way. Can you just give me from your own understanding what situation do you think? Okay, in this situation, it means the journey is no longer worth taking, and in this situation, it is worth taking. I'm pushing back the question to you, by the way.
Yes, I know. I know. That's the thing about communication. It can go anywhere. Okay. I'll give one of my favorite examples in the world, okay? Ah, I don't think if I should use that name because he really does make me emotional. I was going to talk about Shah Rukh Khan, okay? And should I? Shouldn't I? Let me just talk about him, okay? At the very early onset of his career, when he started off to do what he was doing, he talks about it now. That's what he was doing back then, but he talks about it now, that whenever I do wake up, I tell myself that today is going to be the best day and I'm going to conquer the day, right? I'm going to rule the world. It's not coming from this way or that way to him. Of course, he knows there are going to be challenges. There are going to be obstacles coming his way. But for him, it's not that, someone can be better than me, but I need to be the best at what I'm doing, no matter what, right? And if you're so focused that you want to get to where you want to go and what you want to do, the other things really do not matter. I don't think, motivation will even be taking space on your pen and paper, if you know what I mean. A very similar example I can give is of this cricketer, that is Virat Kohli. And this is something I heard in an interview about him through another person. That, of course, as cricketers, in the world of cricket or in the world of sports, you have to train. That's something that's, is part of your DNA. You have to train. And for him, whether it's a good day or a bad day, right, he does things that are very routine-like. Something that you and I could equate to be boring, that we wouldn't want to do on a certain day. We could say, let's skip. Let's do it on day 3 or let's do it on day 12. But he does it every single day. Like even the kind of food he intakes, someone could call it's a very bland or boring food. What is this? In terms of training, it's not his game, it's not his season maybe at that time. He's probably out of practice or something, but he's still practicing. Why? What is needed? I hope that I've answered your question based on what you asked me.
Yes, you did. And you touched upon a very interesting point where you talked about the cricketer. You gave the example of some of the activity that he's doing. He has a routine, and some of them are very boring. Do you, from your own understanding, is it possible that having to go through that boring routine is what makes people lose motivation in the long run? Is that one of the reasons?
Not really. Not really.
Okay.
I mean, what is motivation for you? Is it the central character in your story, or is it just a supporting character? Or is it just a character that you need to be there when you want it to be there?
Okay. On that point, sorry to cut you. On that point, is motivation supposed to be a supporting character, the main character, or just the character? When it comes to achieving our goals, which of these 3 categories should it fall under, from your own understanding?
Character.
Oh, okay. And What would you say to someone who they've spent their whole understanding of motivation as though it's supposed to be the main character?
Hmm. I would tell them, you still have time. Learn from me, because I am one of those people who had kept motivation as the main character in her own story. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying today is because I know it doesn't work like that. Maybe for others it does. I'm not the writer of my own story. There's someone else that is writing that story for us, basically. I'm talking about the presence of, the Almighty in our lives. But I'm saying that because for a number of years, short years, I would say, and I'm very fortunate that this is a realization I had very early on, that I was trying to fit in motivation where things were not really making sense, thinking that this is somehow going to be the saving grace when it comes to teamwork, when it comes to building oneself, when it comes to meeting goals, when it comes to understanding your own journey, just putting things into perspective. And then I was realized, no, because you're feeding something to someone, and that is not maybe the fodder of that person, because that person cannot take it and taste it for themselves. It's like you're giving the experience of another to maybe, let's say, taking it from person A, giving it to person E, and hoping that the result comes out to be like person Z. You know, that's what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, I would say that for someone who who is having the motivation as the main character in their story, there's still time. Or rather, let's put it in a much better way, because I'm the kind of person who likes to encourage people instead of motivating them. So I would say, okay, take your time. You'll learn it along the way. It's okay.
And very interesting close up that you did. Experience is the best teacher. We learn
Yes.
when you learn from your experience. It sticks. It sticks so much. An experience I would give is I remember there was a time that I faced a specific type of rejection. I'm sure I've shared this story with you before, and I've always heard from my mentors that, okay, you have to have this level of posture in sales. You have to have this level of posture in sales. You cannot be desperate in sales. I've always heard it, and it has gone to my head. And to me, I felt like I understood that concept. But I made the mistake with this particular prospect, and I went into deep. Let me just say I went into deep. And I remember I was having a call with the prospects. Not the first call. I was not supposed to even have multiple calls with the person. I had a call with the person. I had another call with the person. I had another call with the person. And in the last call that we were having with the person, we were just having a conversation. And out of nowhere, I was speaking. The person just cut the call. And the moment the person cut the call, I was literally down. And I remember I stepped out of my room to make the call, and I had to go back in. I just go back from work. At the time, I was still working in my place of employment. I just go back from work, and immediately I go back from work, I had to have the call with the person. And then I had to eat. So my sister brought the food for me. I could not eat. I was literally like this. Literally, I was like this. And I kept telling myself, why did you put yourself in that situation? Why did you put yourself in that situation? That was what kept going in my mind. I literally was blaming myself that you knew you're not supposed to do that, but you did it anyway. And from that specific day, I have never, up until today, I've never put myself in that situation, because that experience taught me a lot. Literally, I could not eat for 30 minutes. What brought me out of it was I kept saying, you're too small, you're too small, you're too small. And that was what brought me out of it, right? You're too small to stop me, you're too small to put me down. That was just what I kept repeating to myself. That was how I was able to raise my head and eat and then go to bed. From that day, I've never made that mistake again. So yes, experience is the best teacher. And just like you said, test it, try it and see. But from your own experience, from your own understanding, what happens when someone totally relies on just motivation to achieve their goal? Every single day, I have to feel like going on the journey. I have to feel like I'm excited to go on this journey for me to be able to achieve my goal. For someone that feels like, okay, that has to be the case. What do you think about that?
Psychology matters a lot, and the way I experience things could be different from the way you do. And this is why we say experiences matter a lot, like you just said a few moments ago. So, if a person is approaching whatever they're doing with that sort of psychological mindset, that is purely on motivational basis, and it's working for them, I don't think I have a right to meddle or say anything there, because that's a different story, that's a different path, not connected to mine. And it's working, even though if it doesn't work for me or I do not like so much champion it. Like I said, it's not the main character, it's just a character. But for those, like let's say for those people for who it's working and it's worth it, then so be it. Why
Okay.
try to
Have
change
you
it?
heard? Okay. I 100% agree with you. Why change something that is already working for you, right? Have you seen or heard of someone that it worked for? Actually, it will actually work for. That they were able to sustain their motivation up until they got to their destination. Have you seen or heard?
Okay, I'll come back to Shah Rukh Khan. Please forgive me. He's
It is
into.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. Why I'm saying this? Because somehow it also not only answers your question, but it gives perspective. Okay? Because what he has done, what he has achieved, has somehow become the set, like literally root, foundation, motivational, sort of, if I can just call it for lack of a better word, it's become the motivational structure for anyone who wants to make it big in that particular movie industry, which is of course globally recognized as Bollywood. For those who are his fans, you'll get to know, and you'll get to hear people talking about him so much. They probably do not know so much about their own family history the way they know of his trajectory, where he came from, how he started, that he didn't have money at this point of time, he got married, he got this, he got that. Like, they know everything. So I don't even call it, being so embedded in motivation. I just think they are inspired for life. Yeah, because such stories are rare. It doesn't happen to everyone. I don't know if you've heard about this, that even though something does not happen for you, you're just happy that it happened for someone else. Maybe you are not the one that produces the miracle, but miracles are happening to other people through you. This has gone into a totally different direction. You asked me about motivation, I'm giving you all kinds of things that, of course, can answer your question. I think I did, but in the process, I gave you a bit more.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because just like you said, it might not be working for you, but that aspect that is not working for you is actually working for someone else. Or
Yes.
it's actually building you for something that you would eventually have to face in the future. So you don't have to start learning it when that time comes. You already have the skill, the tools to be able to take care of it. That's actually a very interesting point. And for entrepreneurs, now let's go into entrepreneurship and particularly leaders.
Yes.
How does relying solely on motivation affects entrepreneurs and particularly leaders?
Hmm. Relying solely. Okay. I won't go very far from myself. I just shared something that I was also, basically a part of when it comes to motivation a few moments ago. So I don't think it can work for me in the longest of terms. If you're there for the longevity, if you're not there just for, small sparkling moments, then definitely motivation is not gonna do, a lot for you for that matter. Like I said, for others it could be different. But for leaders, for entrepreneurship, there are some things that they need to do repeatedly, like showing up, like being there, being a voice of reason, whether someone is feeling motivated or not. Sometimes to empower someone, you also have to take a certain route whereby constructive criticism is very much part of the conversation, whether you like it or not. And some people don't like it. They really don't like it at all. They like to see the downside of it rather than the healthier side. So I think for entrepreneurs, they do understand that, of course, it's not always going to be about motivation. I remember there was this particular, was it a podcast or I don't know, or just a video that I saw of Simon Sinek. And you know how much I absolutely look up to this person, respect him so much. And I remember he said that the job of a leader is to create more leaders, right? And in the process, you're doing a lot. You're doing things that perhaps you or they may not agree with, right? And that's why you need to understand that even though it's not going to be like a good day, each particular day as it comes, you need to make it work. For you to make it work, you have to work. And I don't think motivation was really part of that particular statement or conversation. But what he said really left a mark. It's very important to understand that. Because if you're trying to make things work, you're going to come across things you don't like. At that point of time, you would not even feel like saying anything motivational or pass on any motivational material to anyone within your team. You just want to make sure that it works. And this is why I also feel, positivity matters a lot. You need to be hopeful. You definitely need to be hopeful. And of course, you need to be positive about the turnout of things. Because God knows, and I know you know too, things can go this way or this way in the world of entrepreneurship.
Very, very true. Very, very, very true. I 100% agree with that, because you never know what you get when it comes to going into uncertainty. And I want us to look a little bit more into the concept of losing motivation, because I've always thought, why do people lose motivation? You see someone start a New Year resolution, after 1 month, 2 months, completely is as though they never had that New Year resolution. They've gone back to default settings. So I've always thought of, why? Is there like a list of things that leads to people losing motivation? If we know the list of things that leads to people losing motivation, we can avoid them. Or what exactly do you think leads to losing motivation? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it criticism? Is it rejection? Do you think all of these things come into play when it comes to losing motivation? And again, how do we avoid them if it is possible?
You've actually answered your own question. You know that? All these things, they completely count.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there more? Besides the fear, the rejection, the doubts, and so forth? Is there more?
I think what's more is the story behind what is driving this particular fear or doubt. Okay. And the reason for that is, the kind of world we live in. It's true. As much as we may try to deny it, we're always trying to escape something. Okay. And if we come again to the world of entrepreneurship, over-promising and then delivering lower than that. Like we hear these phrases, yeah? Do not over-promise and then under-deliver, right? It's like we just feel that, okay, we can do this. Yes, we can do this. Of course you can do this, but it does not mean that you can actually do it just the way you've mentioned you're going to do it. It can take time, right? It doesn't mean that you're going to achieve 100% of that on that particular month or not. It's okay. And I think, that entire sort of psychology surrounding the situation, like you said, fear, rejection, that's another thing as well. The fact of the doubt coming in, the frustration coming in. There's a lot that comes to play, right? And I do feel it's really about the person that we are. Because at the end of the day, we're always trying to seek or get something or get better at something. And when that does not happen, when things do not come our way the way we had sought them or the way we had planned them to, it really affects us. So I think that somehow answers your question too.
One of the major reasons why I find this topic a bit fascinating is because I could remember reflecting on myself. I remember when I told myself that I wanted to learn how to speak in public forums. I believe I've shared the story with you before. Whenever I'm in public forum, I always try to be in the back end. Even up to date, I still like to be in the back end. But I believe that efficiency is an effective, being effective and being efficient is very important. So when a situation requires you to be out there, be able to be out there, right? But reflecting back my days that I always like to be in the back end, I remember I told myself that, look, exactly what are you gaining? What exactly are you gaining? Because at the time, I wasn't getting any results. I literally wasn't getting results. I was like, what are you exactly gaining? So I wasn't gaining anything. So I needed to look for something that I could say that this is what I've gained. So, and the first thing that came to mind was being able to speak in public forums. I was so uncomfortable speaking in public forums. So I told myself that, okay, do that. And I would remember every single time I turn on my video for me to be called, I would always hear the thoughts, don't call me, don't call me, don't call me. But I have always had to, at every point, I always had to remind myself that you are doing it intentionally. I will always have to reframe myself and call me, please call me, even though I never liked it. Literally at the time, I never liked it, but I had to keep telling myself that call me, call me, call me. And it could have been easy for me to have lost that motivation of, okay, I want to constantly keep my video on so that I'll be called because of that fear. And I've always thought of it, is it possible that all of these little things eventually is what kills our motivation? Fear, doubt, maybe some challenge would happen. Now we know that all of these things leads to us losing motivation. Is it possible for us to avoid it? Now I want us to look at it from two perspectives. In terms of professionally, it could be in terms of your work, someone who's employed or in entrepreneurship or leading a team, and also personally. All of these little things that kills our motivation, is it possible for us to avoid them from professionally and personally? Is it possible? Because if we can avoid it, it will be much easier to.
Interesting. And that's quite an experience. Um, Again, it depends. It really depends. Some people who, of course, learn maybe it's not working for them and they need to avoid, maybe, you know, because sometimes it comes naturally to some, for others, it may not. Depending on what is part of their psychology, also matters a lot. But of course, I think it's avoidable in some circumstances. In others, not much, because as they say, old habits die hard. Yes. So I don't know if this example is relevant here. You can tell me, because you are like, the small things. How exactly is it that they can be worked on, or can it be avoided or not? So I just want to give a very small example here. When I was young, and for a huge amount of years, because I was in that protected shell, right? I was told, and I heard it being told to other people when I was in the same room, that I don't know how to cross the road. Okay? Yes. I would hear it everywhere. And it's true, because if I was out on the roads, let's say I was with my parents or someone was holding my hand, so the sentence or the phrase became, she does not know how to cross the road. Until came a time when I actually crossed the road. Right? But before that, in those particular durations or the years of build up, it used to feel like, oh my God, it's going to be like a mess. It's like a war zone. I don't know. It's just a small distance, like a road. I live in a city whereby a road is not the roads of those particular developed countries. I live in a city where the roads are literally very, like, it takes you less than 20 seconds to cross from one side to the other. So, for me, it was like, God, something's going to happen. Will I die? Will someone run me over? Until actually I got to know that it's such a normal thing. It's basically like a routine. People do it every day. So why do I feel like I'm supposed to be getting, those kind of jitters and palpitations that, oh, this is such a hard task to achieve. Not at all. I think I can apply the same thing towards what you asked me. Because for some people, it's very difficult to get over, right? For some people, it's also a matter of the mindset at the end of the day and the experience. So it can work for some, I can't really tell. Can't.
All right, thank you very much. That is quite interesting. And feeling ready on the topic of motivation, we had this concept of yes, someone could start a journey and then along the way they lose that motivation. What about before they start? We hear this concept of I don't feel ready to start, or I don't think it's the right time.
Yeah.
That feeling ready or waiting to feel that motivation to get started, is that a form of procrastination hiding in the closet?
Yes. It definitely is. It definitely is. At least in my case scenarios, not even scenario, but scenarios, it is. It is. Because if you do not have a familiarity with something, right? Starting is always going to be a problem. Leave aside the fact of doing the thing, just about starting. Because you don't probably have a reference, you maybe do not have an idea, you've not been in that field before. So, how are you going to? Sorry about that. So, how exactly are you going to implement going into an unknown charters? I do feel definitely, before starting, it's just that particular level. I don't even think motivation needs to be there, if we can put it, in that particular order, because these are two separate things. Perhaps if it's something you've done and then you left over, then yes, maybe motivation. Remember the smaller sparks that I was talking about, the timely sparks? Maybe that could work. But of course, if something that you've never delved into, you've never started, it's just that particular acceptance that you need to get there. And that comes from your own self. No one else can do it for you.
So what you're saying, or what I'm understanding, is that that sense of I don't feel ready, especially when it's something that I've never done before, it's normal. It is generally the normal feeling that we have for something that we've not done before. We just need to take that leap of action regardless. Very good. Now, I've started. You've told me to start regardless of how I feel. I've started. What separates someone? Because again, I don't want to end up at the middle and then just give up. I feel like it's more like I've wasted my time, and that's why I always like to finish things, because when you start, you've spent, let's say, 5 months. Literally, the moment you quit is as though you've wasted that 5 months, unless you've learned something from that experience that you can take it to something else. But if you've not learned anything, you've not gotten to your destination, it's more like you've wasted that's 5 months, right? And you can't get time back. You can lose money, get it back. You cannot get time back. You can only get the lessons you learned through time. What separates someone who quits at some point in the journey and someone who eventually gets to that destination? What is the major thing that differentiates these two individuals?
I don't know. Maybe commitment to self? I think so. I mean, what exactly are we talking about? What has this person given up and what has this person not given up on? Because most of the times, you see, we're talking about doing something by ourselves, right? And something that we're working on. So I think it's firstly commitment to the own person. What it is that you know that you truly want. What is your inner voice telling you? And what it is that you're working towards. So it could be, again, the story. There are lots of differences between people at the end of the day. So the person who kept on, who chose to keep on going, and the person who somehow left it in between, it could probably be that the person who went through eventually, the reason to keep going was stronger than the reason to give up. Perhaps could be that. But other times as well, we don't know what people are going through. It's tough, especially tough when people do not talk about the battles they are going through internally. And for someone who chooses to give up, I don't think they should be judged because you are not walking in their shoes, or I am not walking in their shoes. It could be anything, anything for that matter. And maybe as a result of them giving up, they found a better opening somewhere. And it's not just about that particular goal they missed out on. Maybe they got, back in sync with their health, or they found something that they probably much better than what they had chose to give up on. It could be anything.
Can't remember exactly where I heard it, but I heard that if what the battles people are having internally is out in the open, then literally the world will be in complete chaos. The world will be in complete chaos because you see someone smiling, but you never really know what is actually happening. Not just it could be behind the scenes, it could be with the family, or it could even be in their heads. It could literally be in their heads. So yes, I do like that concept of when someone quits, try to understand. We try to understand, see how we are able to help. If that's not possible, we understand them because you never really know what people are going through. And going back to the concept of being consistent to eventually get to your destination, identity. I always believe that we see the world through our identity. And an example I would give is there's this research that was conducted. I find the research very fascinating. There are two groups of people, maybe two groups. The first group, they did like a scar on their face, like makeup. So for them to have the normal makeup that we do in movies, that we see injuries in movies. So they did it on their face. So it was like they had a scar, right? That was the first group. The second group, they had nothing. And they told both of them to go out, speak to people for a couple of minutes, and then come back and relay their experience of the conversation. So the both groups, they went out, they spoke to different people, and they came back. The group with the scar said that they felt like they were being judged. They felt like people criticized them. So it was so negative because they had a scar. So before they went out, they showed them like a mirror so that they would see the scar. So they could see that they had a scar. That was the first group. The second group said that, it was very positive. People were very understanding and so forth. It was just generally positive. But what the first group didn't know is that before they went out, the researcher actually took like a cloth, right, and cleaned out the scar. So they went out into the streets without any scar. They went out into the streets. The conversation they had was scarless. But because they had that perception that they had that scar, they interpreted everything that happened as negative. It goes back to identity. So in the concept of consistency, the identity that we've created for ourselves, can that hinder us from being consistent? If so, how?
Absolutely. Oh, identity. Or should we say identity crisis?
Identity crisis. Yes. How exactly?
How not? I mean, we live in the world of digital era or communication as it is, right? And we've come from a time, I hope you still remember those times when we did not have this. There was nothing like this when I was growing up. It was just a phone connected to a wire and then we just had to dial up the numbers. That's about it. But here we are. And somewhere we are being judged. It's not just the phones anymore, but I think they have contributed to it in a lot of ways. Comments seeking into the personal relationships. Everyone has to say anything and everything they have to say, about the way we lead our lives or the way we do things. Privacy is so rare, honestly speaking. So that of course affects us, when you speak about identity, or if I may call it identity crisis. It's like every day we just have to like wake up and think of being, a lot better than how we were yesterday. But at the same time, there's a lens there. We know that we are somehow going to be connected with someone. We need to be able to, prepare ourselves to talk in this way, or maybe not say this to this person. So somehow it's becoming a lot more, should I say, controlled. We're becoming like a controlled version of ourselves somewhere, that becomes very, should I say, less easy to be fully ourselves. And of course, when you talk about and relate that to consistency, it really is work. We can't just say that we're flowing like water. No one literally flows like water. I spoke about this cricketer a while ago, right? Even for him, only he knows what he's going through. At the end of the day, what you see, the performance on the pitch might come as effortless to you on the days he's playing splendidly well. But there's a lot that he goes through in that particular mind, which we were talking about a while ago. So for that consistency to be up, our identity has to do some really extra hard work, I feel. Oof.
Yes, identity
Where have
is.
you taken us?
It's a concept that I find very fascinating. For me, generally, philosophy, psychology is something that I find very fascinating, because the inner workings of the way the human mind works is just something that is mind blowing. I read the concept of social proof. There's a book that I would recommend for anyone who wants to learn about how our human beings think, or how we behave, or why we behave the way we do. Read the book Influence. That book, I was reading the book and I was like, how is this possible? And the amazing thing about the book is, when I read the book, I would always see it in my own character as well. I'm talking about the concept of social proof. The concept of social proof, when I read it, I was like, this is very scary. Like, it's super scary. The author, Robert Caldini, he gave a research that was done on suicide. And he said, in a particular region where suicide was promoted, for example, someone committed suicide and it was shown in TV that this person, so person committed suicide, the rate of suicide in that region that saw that went up. And the rate of car accidents also went up. And I was, how is it possible? And then he went on, he broke it down and explained why it was possible. And I was like, wow, this is very scary. There's also another thing that he talked about. I know we are deviating a little bit, but the concept of psychology just is something that I really find very fascinating. He gave an example. He said, imagine two people. One person had like a heart attack and there was just one person there. And second person have a heart attack and there are hundreds of people. Who do you think is going to have the highest chance of getting help? Now, any normal person would say the person that has 100 people there. Any normal person would say that. But he said, actually, that's not what the research says. It's the person that has one person. That is the person that has the highest chance of getting help. And he even gave a research that was done. The researcher says that they had someone pretend as though they had like a heart attack in public. And the amount of people that ignored that person was overwhelming. Like, literally, the person could not get anybody to help the person for minutes. And he was explaining this. He was saying, he gave a concept called he called it plurality ignorance effect. So what it does is that, as a person, a bystander looking at that experience, in my mind, I am expecting someone else to do it.
Yeah.
And that person that I'm expecting to do it is also expecting someone else to do it. And then that goes around everybody. And then it creates this perception that if everybody is not actually doing anything, then there's a chance that it's not that serious. And Why everybody is not doing anything is because we are expecting everybody else to do something. And I read it and I was like, this is mind blowing.
So
This
relevant. Yeah.
is mind blowing. And coming back to the concept of identity, the identity we see ourselves, the way we see ourselves impacts how we move. It impacts how we move. And there's this quote I was sitting, I was reflecting, and there's the quote that came to mind. People don't treat you based on who they are. They treat you based on how they treat the person you see yourself as. Now, what does this mean? The way you see yourself is going to affect how you act with people. If I see myself as a shy person, I'm going to treat people. I'm going to act in a shy person to people. So people are not treating me based on who they are. They are treating me based on how they treat a shy person. So now, this changes how we influence other people treating us. So if I could become a confident person, people are going to treat me based on how they treat a confident person. So in that scenario, I have a bit of control on how people would treat me. Now, of course, again, you can't control how people behave the way they behave. Of course, it's not possible. But to an extent, you are able to have some level of impact in how people treat you. It's something that I find very, very, very fascinating, right? Going back to the concept of identity, I 100% agree with you. It's something that impacts how consistent we are. Going back to something you said earlier, you said there's the main character, there's something that will make the main character, there's something that will make the side character, and there's something that will make the character. And for you, you believe that motivation should be a character. What should we make our main character? In your view, what have you seen that has worked for you that this should be our main character?
Okay. I think you already know about this. I must have mentioned it to you. So for me, it's positivity and the positive self-talk that one needs to do. Because you are constantly in different environments. Even when you are in your own environment, it's very important to keep that particular USP high for yourself. So, it's like saying that if you do not do it for you, who will do it for you? When we speak of motivation, right, we're speaking of someone else that you're probably relying on or thinking of, and it works. When it comes to you and what you want to do, you have to look at what can work for you, and you'll find it. For me, it's positivity. For someone else, it could be something else, totally different, you know? But of course, in my own experience, I see that somehow, somewhere, or somehow everywhere, if I may put it that way, it has worked. It does not mean that I need to come out as a winner of that, out of that situation, or it needs to be like a perfect day. No matter what, like I said the other time, whether it's a rainy day or it's a sunny day, you have to keep going. And what keeps me going is that
Positivity. We've talked about quite a lot. Actually, we've deviated to various topics, but I like the
yes.
nuance that you were able to talk about motivation, because you talked about something very important, which people are different. What works for person A might not work for person B. So it's just about knowing yourself, finding what works for you. If it's possible
Yes.
for someone to be able to sustain that motivation, let them do it. We've talked about quite a lot, right? And I know you would always want people to take out everything, but if there's a last parting message or a last message that you'd like to share with anyone who is listening, what would that be?
Dear. Okay. I would say believe in yourself. Listen to yourself. Sometimes I do feel we listen a lot to others, and in the process we forget listening to ourselves. And that's very unfair. The fact that we can, end up feeling so different or sad or basically feel rejected or feel a bit more on the downside of a particular day. If we just give ourselves some time or some extra time, that is much needed. And when I say me time, I do not really mean that you need to lock yourself up in the room and that's your me time. That could also be. I really don't mind doing that myself. I've done it a couple of times without locking the room. But yes, but I would say definitely we need to believe in ourselves a lot more and listen to ourselves, because the conversations that come out, and this again goes again, see, I was talking about positive self-talk, the conversations that you can actually have with your own self and the kind of impact they can have, that's just a value added asset to your own identity, if I may wrap it up this way. And that's very important. Somewhere I
Thank
feel
you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for shedding light on this wonderful topic. I believe this is a topic that cannot be over spoken about because it is very crucial. And you've told us quite a lot. You've shared quite a lot of information with us today. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for making yourself available. And that would be all for today's episode of Talks with Partners. And then we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Much, much, much appreciated.